This situation perfectly illustrates what happens when political figures, so-called puppet masters, attempt to manipulate the narrative for their own benefit. Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of Dalton, Illinois, has found herself at the center of a political firestorm, and the consequences are now playing out in dramatic fashion. Once seen as a rising political star with powerful dual role as both mayor of Dalton and supervisor of Thornton Township, Henyard's firm grip on leadership is quickly eroding amid a wave of scandals, accusations, and public backlash. Henyard's political future now hangs in the balance as her once promising career descends into controversy. Her leadership style, criticized as erratic and self-serving, along with allegations of excessive spending and questionable decisions, has shaken the confidence of even her most loyal allies. What was once heralded as a bright new chapter in local governance is now unraveling for all to see, and the unraveling shows no signs of stopping. The most significant blow to Henyard's political standing came during a tense and historic Democratic caucus in Thornton Township. Breaking from a decades-long tradition, party officials opted not to hold a primary election for 2024 candidates. Instead, they held a closed-door caucus to select their nominees, an unusual move that raised eyebrows and immediately raised the stakes for all involved. Henyard, eager to secure her position and maintain her hold on the township supervisor role, entered the caucus with determination. However, in a stunning twist, her name was removed from the ballot altogether. The reason? Her campaign failed to submit a complete slate of candidates, omitting crucial positions such as assessor and trustee. Without a certified assessor on her team, her candidacy was ruled invalid. Enraged by the outcome, Henyard lashed out, accusing political opponents of orchestrating a calculated effort to undermine her. The caucus itself played out more like a political drama than a routine nomination meeting. Hundreds of township residents braved freezing temperatures to attend the showdown at the Homewood Flossmoor Park District Auditorium. Inside, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. State Senator Napoleon Harris, who also serves as a Democratic committeeman for Thornton Township, took the lead in running the caucus. In a bold and decisive move, Harris announced his own candidacy for township supervisor and won the Democratic nomination, officially replacing Henyard on the ballot. What followed was anything but a quiet conclusion. As the results were announced, the auditorium erupted in boos and jeers directed at Henyard. In a surreal and mocking moment, some attendees began singing, "Na na na na, hey hey hey, goodbye," turning the event into what felt like a political mic drop, visibly shaken. Henyard shouted back at Harris, accusing him of mismanaging the process and calling proceedings illegitimate. "You didn't handle any of this the right way," she yelled, before storming out of the auditorium, trailed by a small group of loyal supporters. But the damage was already done. Henyard's name was officially removed from the Democratic ballot. Her only remaining path was to attempt a write-in campaign, an uphill battle with long odds. The defeat was more than a procedural setback. It delivered a major blow to her credibility and public image. The backlash was swift and fierce. Critics flooded social media with calls for her removal, with one resident urging others to vote as early as possible to make her defeat undeniable. Another wrote, "Money and power corrupt. The more power she gains, the more corruption follows." These sentiments echoed the growing view of Henyard not as a reformer, but as a cautionary tale of political overreach. The fallout from her removal has not only fractured Henyard's base, but has further alienated her from the community she once vowed to serve. What began as quiet skepticism has morphed into loud demands for new leadership. For many, her fall from grace is more than political, it's personal. To fully understand Henyard's rapid decline, one must look beyond the caucus and see how a leader once praised for her potential is now struggling to survive in a storm of her own, making Tiffany Henyard once built a powerful reputation as an untouchable figure in South suburban politics. Dubbed a super mayor, she held two prominent positions simultaneously, mayor of Dalton and supervisor of Thornton Township, roles that grant her considerable control and influence over public affairs in both jurisdictions. For a time, she was heralded as an ambitious and dynamic political force, defying expectations and consolidating power with ease. But as her political star rose, so did public scrutiny. What started as admiration began to morph into deep skepticism. Critics and concerned citizens started questioning Henyard's motives and leadership style. Many accused her of prioritizing personal ambition and vanity projects over the public good. The accusations were serious and persistent. Alleged embezzlement, financial mismanagement, unchecked spending, and a growing disregard for transparency and accountability. Among the most startling revelations was the alleged misuse of taxpayer dollars for personal luxuries. Reports claim she spent thousands on lavish travel, upscale restaurants, and even beauty services, expenses that appear disconnected from the needs of her constituents. One particularly jaw-dropping incident revealed that Henyard's administration charged over $33,000 in purchases on Amazon in a single day. These revelations were especially infuriating for Dalton residents, where the median income hovers around $24,400. Many felt betrayed. "She's living like royalty while we're struggling to make ends meet," said one disillusioned resident. "It's disgusting. It should be illegal." The growing financial strain on the village only intensified the anger. Under Henyard's leadership, the village's financial condition rapidly declined, sparking alarm among citizens and local officials alike. A preliminary review led by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, appointed as an independent investigator, uncovered troubling signs of fiscal instability and governance breakdown. According to Lightfoot's findings, Dalton's general fund, which had maintained a surplus of over $5 million in 2022, had spiraled into a nearly $4 million deficit by mid-2024. That a dramatic and alarming $9 million swing in just 2 years. Lightfoot didn't mince words. She described Dalton's financial condition as dire and directly attributed much of the crisis to irresponsible and unsustainable spending practices tied to Henyard's administration. Among the most troubling details were ballooning overtime payouts to members of the police department. Some officers reportedly received over $100,000 in overtime alone, raising serious questions about oversight, misuse of resources, and potential abuse of public funds. But the criticism extended well beyond financial concerns. Henyard's leadership style also came under intense fire. Critics described it as increasingly authoritarian and isolating. Village trustees accuse her of consolidating power by systematically excluding them from key decisions, rather than collaborate with the board. Henyard was seen as treating them as obstacles to be ignored. Tensions came to a head during heated public meetings. In one widely circulated video, Henyard could be seen scolding trustees. "You all forget I'm the leader. The people want to hear from the mayor. You still haven't figured that out. The mayor, not the trustees, who don't do anything," she declared. The comment struck a nerve and fueled perceptions of a leader more interested in control than cooperation. Trustees pushed back, accusing her of sidelining their voices and treating other elected officials as symbolic figures rather than meaningful contributors to governance. The growing sense of alienation among officials and residents alike has led many to describe Dalton's current state as a full-blown governance crisis. Trust in local leadership has eroded, and Lightfoot's preliminary findings only reinforce a troubling picture of unchecked power and minimal fiscal restraint. Dalton deserves stable leadership and responsible financial management, Lightfoot emphasized, strongly suggesting that legal or administrative consequences could follow. As pressure continues to mount and more details from the investigation are expected, Henyard's political future appears increasingly precarious. But the financial chaos and leadership disputes weren't confined to town hall meetings. They have extended into community life, most notably in a growing conflict between Henyard and the Dalton Park District. The Park District has accused Henyard's administration of deliberately stalling crucial permits tied to long-promised park improvement projects, initiatives that had already secured substantial grant funding. According to park officials, the delays are not bureaucratic but political. They believe Henyard is using her influence to retaliate against the Park District because political opponents have held meetings on park property. These gatherings, protected under the First Amendment, appear to have put the Park District in Henyard's political crosshairs. The result? Community park projects have been halted, leaving critical renovations in limbo. To make matters worse, the Park District claims Henyard's administration has issued thousands of dollars in fines for routine maintenance tasks, like replenishing mulch or upgrading playground equipment, tasks that have long been performed without issue. The abrupt shift in enforcement has been widely condemned as petty and politically motivated. Cleo Jones, president of the Dalton Park District, voiced her concerns. "Every year we replenish the mulch to keep kids safe while they play. It's standard. Now we're being punished for doing our job because of politics." Her statement echoes a broader community fear that Henyard's administration is prioritizing political grudges over essential services. One local resident put it plainly, "This started as grassroots. Now it's something bigger. We're watching personal feuds interfere with public services." With the fate of major upgrades hanging in the balance and normal operations hindered, frustration among residents is rapidly intensifying. $1,040,000 grant intended for renovations at Blackstone Park is now on the verge of expiring due to the stalled permits. If it lapses, Dalton residents could lose the opportunity and maybe left footing the bill, said Stephanie Weidman, executive director of the Park District. This isn't just political. It's about what our families are losing. Safer spaces, better parks, all at risk. Weidman's comments underscore a growing sense that Henyard's approach to leadership is no longer just controversial. It's actively harmful. Her administration has fractured community trust, and now even her inner circle is reportedly crumbling. Rumors are swirling about resignations and dissent within her ranks, with former allies quietly distancing themselves. Attempts to salvage her public image through community events and social media messaging have largely failed. Critics call them disingenuous, dismissing them as calculated PR stunts rather than genuine efforts at transparency or accountability. Perhaps most concerning is a reported federal investigation now surrounding Henyard's administration. While she has not been charged, sources claim that FBI agents have interviewed multiple individuals regarding allegations of misconduct, including possible financial impropriety. The probe has only added to the growing sense of crisis. The situation grew more intense when a former deputy police chief, once considered one of Henyard's allies, was indicted on bankruptcy fraud charges, further fueling speculation that legal consequences may not be far off for others within her circle. Despite the mounting scandals, Henyard has remained combative and defiant. In a recent Facebook video, she accused her critics of launching a coordinated smear campaign and hinted at legal retaliation, though she provided no evidence. "Why is all the heat on me?" she asked. "What are they trying to distract you from?" Her tone was firm, but for many residents, the distractions are over. The realities of the leadership crisis are now impossible to ignore. "The consequences of inaction won't fall on politicians," said Weidman. "They'll fall on the community.